A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is
Yeah.
being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro?
Yeah, you're
It's
just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's
That just we are the only society on earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, of which I know many, they're irrelevant.
Good morning, Misfits. Time to get the earmuffs on. It's funny because I watch Dan Bongino pretty much every day, and he's getting the same type of hey, stop swearing so much. Because every time he swears, he's like, sorry, I know people don't like it. And it's like, yeah, it's a morning show. We try to make it as family friendly as possible. But that's why we have the...
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
And if we accidentally,
I don't know why you got to do it in front of the kid with the effing. All you got to do is say earmuffs.
So, all right, let's do a couple shout outs. Bad Moon 10, or is it 101? 001. T. Mitchell, AV 1965, Kit Kat Mar. We got Moose for Trump. Hello, Moose for Trump. Teffy, Funmon, Bad Moon. Yesterday, Zach got irritated. He had to answer us in the chat and got sidetracked. Yes, I have a severe case of what is called, in the medical industry, attention deficit disorder, which means shiny object distracting me will take me off the path that I was on, and I don't know if I'll ever find it again. So please save all your questions till the end of class. Speaking of class, here is 2A Thursday's thumbnail. I don't think Eli gets enough credit for these thumbnails. All right, they are pretty damn good. And like I said, I will rent him out. So hit me up. Okay. As some of you know, I put together this self-defense training course for my followers a couple weeks ago. And it was really great. I learned a few things. It was mainly for my followers who maybe didn't know things about self-defense and wanted to learn. And it was a great event. We put it on. And we got one of the people who signed up is going to actually be joining us in a little bit. And we're going to talk to him. But I wanted to make this a point because if you guys aren't aware, here's how this story happened. All right, you might have already heard this, but entertain me for a minute. It was right around the time where the two Israeli ambassadors got shot in the back by one of these, hold on.
Max, can you earmuff it for me?
Dickheads, who was chanting Free Palestine. Literally murdered two people in cold blood chanting Free Palestine. Then shortly after that, I believe it was in Boulder, Colorado, where some guy was throwing Molotov cocktails at Jews. And we gotta kill them, stuff like that. And we're seeing this attack on the Jews. And I am not some pro-Israeli government. I don't have any connection to the nation state of Israel, but I have vehemently defended the Jews because and here, let's go full screen for this. Here's why. Okay. First of all, it's my faith, right? I believe in the Abrahamic covenant, and the commandment from God to all that I will bless thee that bless them. And the them is what's contested with, woke right revisionist theologists and replacement theologists and even some Catholics. But even if you took that away, even if you took the religious aspect of it away, where I will bless thee that bless them, I will curse thee that curse them. I don't want to be cursed by God, right? Let's say I have that wrong. I don't, but let's say I do. Jews are 0.02% of the population. 0.02. Not 0.2. 0.02. Are we following along? That means 99 point like 9 or 9.2 9.8 are not. Okay, very small percentage. So they're outnumbered, I would say, right? I said this the other day, where I would be willing to bet. In fact, I think we kind of proved it. Where I would bet that there are more Christians. I was about to say Catholics. Let's call it Christians who hate Jews than there are Jews. Right? Now, if you go to Tucker Carlson, his page, his most recent, this wasn't planned, but let's go find out what he's talking about. I wonder what's on Tucker's page. His latest episode, right? Why would an Israeli soldier use a sledgehammer to smash the face of Jesus? There are a lot of people in Israel who hate Christianity above all. How can American evangelical leaders support this? Well, how can American evangelical leaders support the amount of hatred in their own community against Jews? How can American evangelical leaders ignore the massive amount of hatred that happens towards Jews? They're the underdog, and I back underdogs. So you can take this religious aspect out of it. Even though it is my main driving factor, you could remove it, and I would have the same position. They are 0.02% of the population. 0.2%, I believe, of the American population. They are outnumbered. So, when I see them getting slaughtered, I made a post and I said, all right, guys, if you're a Jew, or even if you're not, you want to learn how to use a firearm, hit me up. And the good people over at Sheepdog Response, they came in and they were like, "Hey man, let's work together and we'll get this done." So we put on this awesome training course. I just gave you a little preview there, but I'll get into that. Let's look at this. You know what's funny is Eli put together this, and all I was expecting was me in front of a classroom, but he's got so much going on in here. He took it above and beyond, right? Like if you look right here over my cursor, these are the color codes of awareness. We were talking about situational awareness last week, right? And you have the white, yellow, orange, red, and then there's one that's called black. But then you got the what is this? Universal safety rules, treat every weapon like it's loaded, et cetera, et cetera. Awareness, mindset, movement, mechanics, survival, avoid, de-escalate, defend. There's that one's a little off, but it's an A, I think. But run, hide, fight is one of them. You're gonna be judging the situation. Situational awareness and self-defense put together is what every single person needs to do to avoid the situations that could end your life, right? This doesn't even just apply to Jews. The Jews that were being attacked inspired it, but this is for everyone, right? We do 2A Thursday for a reason, okay? You need to get on board with this shit, because nobody is coming to save you. The average response time for a first responder is something like 13 minutes. Laken Riley, illegal aliens in this country, like gang members, right? You don't have to be a Jew for this to apply to you. You can just be a regular person that's not going to be able to rely on 911 send, and 13 minutes later, you've been dead for 12. Okay. You know how long it takes to pull the trigger? A lot less time than 13 minutes. So we're going to get to that. But we also do on the Daily Breakdown, we do the Daily Breakdown, right? That's the theme of the day. But we also want to cover the news. And we got a ton of news to get to. And I got Josh coming on. So let's jump right into it. Okay. And this is like a jam-packed news day. All I do is I go on the internet, I type in the word news, and this is what popped up. But we got a lot of things to cover in the next 20 or so minutes before we bring on our guest. So from the BBC, U.S. Navy chief leaving post effective immediately. Pentagon says John Phelan is leaving the Trump administration. His departure will be effective immediately, spokesperson Sean Parnell said. Phelan is the latest high-ranking military leader to leave the administration in recent months. His departure comes amid the U.S.-Israel war with Iran and the continued blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. The Navy has not provided a reason. His exit came after tension within the American leadership over issues around shipbuilding, according to unconfirmed reports in U.S. media. So throw that right out the window. We don't know why. Somebody in his family could be sick. He could just be tired. It could be that, it could be the other thing. It could be he doesn't agree with the president, or it doesn't matter. But unconfirmed reports is basically saying, like, you shouldn't even report on unconfirmed reports. But the BBC don't care. That's what they do. Okay. So anyway, that's just, I guess we'll just wait for more on this story because it's not a story. All right. It would all be, this is just something a story that you could use to speculate based on whatever you think happened. Okay. That's not news. But we also have from Fox News, Senate GOP rams through blueprint to bankroll ICE Border Patrol through the end of Trump era. This is so stupid. No. I'm glad they did it. What I'm saying is it's so stupid that we are in the leadership and we have to do stuff like this, right? It's like we have to go all right, let's try to figure out how we can, do our job sneakily, right? Because even though we have a majority, we have rhinos like Rand Paul, whatever. We have rhinos like Rand Paul. We have the squishy rhinos, we don't have a majority. Yes, we have the numbers, but we don't have a majority. Leader John Thune came out, I believe it was yesterday, and he said, the Dems are controlling everything. You're the leader of the Senate. How are they in control if you're the leader? That means you're not a leader. You might as well just go ahead and give up your position. If that's your, hold on. Just to confirm. Leader. Yeah, it says it right there. Right, leader. Take this out. You're no longer, you just said that's not you. I mean, let's see if we can find this quote. John Thune, Democrats. I think he said control. Let's just see what happens. See what happens. Yeah, no. Unleashes on Democrats. This was just like yesterday. Control. I think he said control. Yeah. No. I don't know. I didn't. I should have bookmarked it, but he did say it. So it's insane that we got to do stuff like this. Is my point. I mean, Nancy Pelosi would have never let this happen. Like, and I know that she was a House, but you know what I'm saying? It's like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi together when they were in power. And by the way, people who are like praising that, it's not a good thing either. It's like there are people that are like, I wish that Republicans would act more like Democrats. No, you don't. But you also don't wish they act like these ones, right? You want some happy medium where they don't like, you know, we don't have a cult. But at the same time, you want a leader who's able to rally the party and push things through. Anyway, Senate Republicans adopted their budget resolution which tees up funding for immigration and customs enforcement. So essentially, right, like, okay, so Trump has to do executive orders to pay ICE because Democrats shut down the government, and the Senate GOP has to, like, do quick little bills in the middle of the night in order to pass things. Guys, if you don't realize how important it is to expand the majority in November, it's going to be like this for the next 3 years. Like, you have to get your ass out and vote. You have to tell other people to vote. You have to literally, I don't care if you drag them by their ear to the freaking polling station. What do we got here? We always have this. Everyone knows where I'm going with this. Look at this. Upcoming elections, May 26th. Oh, look at that. Get ActiVote. ACTIVOTE. I'm not sponsored by them. You'll at least know where and when your next election is. Send it to somebody. You could screenshot that and be like, did you know May 26th? If you lived in Texas. It's not hard. They're not coming to save you either. You have to save yourself. That's a good way. You know what? Wasn't planning that. Here. Nobody's coming to save you in a situation with firearms. And the GOP isn't coming to save you. The government's not coming to save you. You have to save yourself. How do you save yourself? How do you defend against this threat? Vote. In massive numbers. Grow the majority so big that the rhinos and the deep state and the squishy bitches in Congress don't matter because we'll have a super majority. If we have a super majority, things will get done. Can't stop relying on Trump. Stop relying on one election every 4 years. It's not gonna matter. If the majority is slim, nothing gets done. That's what we have found out from this term. If the majority is slim, it's not a majority. Because Democrats cheat. They pull everything out of, like, I don't know if they're buying congressmen. I don't know if they have dirt on congressmen on the right, but we don't have a majority. Even though we have the numbers, it's clear we do not have a majority. How many recess bills have been done in this term? None. Because Leader Thune is a coward. He's either paid off, bought, or just spineless. I don't care. Johnson's the same way. Johnson's finally finding his spine now when it comes to, like, you know, the potential of him being replaced. It's how they all act, by the way. It's like all of a sudden they start getting stuff done right around the time where their jobs are threatened. Yeah, okay, cool. Do your job all the time. It is a good thing that we got this passed, but I mean, you guys are celebrating it like this should have been done, dude. The government's still shut down. We're circumventing the Democrats, dog walking us. They're the minority. Crazy. Yeah, they're not going to let us read this. FBI said to have investigated Times reporter after a critical article. Fine, who cares? Good. I don't care. I don't care. We're not doing this anymore. Where it's like, oh, you're doing a thing that we did. Okay, fine. Fine. Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. That's the saying, okay? You want to weaponize the government against us. We can slightly weaponize it against you. It's not illegal. It's not a true weaponization of government. If, like, look, here, you have given us a data point, right? You know, Joe Kent likes to say data point. You have given us a data point. The data point is we now are aware of you because you did something, like Judge Boasberg, right? Judge Boasberg, I think, should be investigated. I think he should be impeached because of all of the actions that he has made against the Trump administration, right? Like, if you were not aware of a threat and a threat presented itself to you, now you're aware of the threat and you take down the threat, or you investigate the threat and find out it is a threat, right? Is that like retaliation? No, the reporter came out and started talking shit, and they were like, look into this guy. Look into this guy, right? And in fact, we're done. We're done with this whole fair fight bullshit. The fair fight stuff, not working, guys. You're in a fist fight. They're pulling out a knife, and you have a knife, but you're still in a fist fight. That's your problem. Next up, huge story, huge win. It looks like, and I don't want to celebrate early, but it looks like the Virginia redistricting, gerrymandering, absolute sideshow that they tried is going to be overturned. The Virginia court declares state's redistricting vote was unconstitutional in a legal win for Republicans. Virginia Attorney General Jay Jones said the ruling from an activist judge will immediately be appealed by his office. Okay, who cares? I don't care. Go ahead, appeal it. It was unconstitutional what they did. Like, we went over this. They changed the language around, talking about fairness and the thing. There was so much going on over there. And the Virginia, so this is going to get kicked up to the Virginia Supreme Court. The Virginia Supreme Court does lean a little right. So and people are saying, why didn't they vote on this before? So okay, here's why. All right. Because they probably wanted to kick the can down the road and see if it would just fail on its own, right? It's why the Supreme Court does this all the time. Right? I mean, the main Supreme Court, state Supreme Courts, they don't like to make decisions that can have a lower part of the process make that decision, because they don't want to appear like they are intervening and making laws. Because the Supreme Court's job is to interpret, not make or change laws. Is everyone following? So the reason why the Supreme Court didn't jump in before the election happened, I would guess, is because they wanted to see if it would just fail, right? And now I think what's going to happen is this is going to get kicked up. They're going to rule that it's unconstitutional, and the map is going to stay the same, which it should. It's crazy. It's a swing state. Right now it's 6-5. For seats, 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans. The Democrats literally decided to change the map 10-1. Literally 10-1 as opposed to 6-5. That's not redistricting. That's unconstitutional gerrymandering. That's the difference. What Texas did was redistricting. They redrew the maps to more accurately represent, which was sort of undoing gerrymandering. Right? Because redistricting can undo gerrymandering, and gerrymandering can undo redistricting, but they are not really the same thing. It's all based on why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and whether or not when you do it, will the new map represent the people in the district? If the answer is no, it's about politics. If the answer is yes, then it's about properly redistricting. Even though the process is exactly the same, the intent is the difference. So we'll see how this goes. This one's going to be one to watch for sure. Okay, a couple more stories to get in. I don't hear our guest yet, so we'll see. I told them to join at 8:30. But let's just read. Let's read a little bit of this. Okay. The Virginia court judge Jack Hurley ruled Wednesday, one day after the Democrat redistricting, that all votes for or against the redistricting were unconstitutional, citing rules that impose certain requirements that the referendum did not meet. There are a handful of cases making its way through the system. The judge entered an injunction blocking the certification. So Democrats can't even try to like push this through so that it's just law. Oh, now it'll be so hard to undo it. No, he stopped it. This judge. Thank God. A final order will be entered once drafted and immediately repealed. Shortly after the ruling came down, Democrat was like, we're gonna challenge. Go ahead, challenge it, dude. Who cares? This is it's over. Well, knock on wood. It's looking good. I should rephrase that because you never know what's gonna happen in this freaking crazy world. All right. There was another one. Maybe there wasn't. I thought there was another one. I thought there was another story. Oh, yeah. I remember. Not on the Daily Breakdown, but we have to talk about this. Okay? We have to talk about this. Russell Brand. Hold on. Russell Brand has always rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm sure that I've, been like, at one point, maybe I was like, yay, right? But this is kind of the same thing that happened with Andrew Tate. At a certain point, I was kind of like an Andrew Tate fan. Now he's suing me or sued me. I think that's over. Because I called him a pedophile, essentially, right? I pointed out that accurately that Andrew Tate was whipping a 15-year-old girl on camera with a belt, admitting to pimping her out to other men and admitting to sleeping with her when she was 15. That's a pedophile, right? That's what that is, all right? And look, here, let's go to my logic behind this. Is it technically a pedophile? No, right? But I don't give a shit if it's technically the technical term, all right? There's technical definitions, and then there's the definition everybody uses, right? And the way I use it is grown man sleeping with children equals pedophile. I think that everyone understands that when you say pedophile, right? It's like, because like, oh man, this 50-year-old guy slept with a 16-year-old girl, and that's not the technical definition of a pedophile. That's what Nick Fuentes said about Jeffrey Epstein. He said Jeffrey Epstein's not a pedophile. That's what Nick Fuentes said. So, like, who's really protecting pedophiles? All right. So, let's watch this interview where Russell Brand was speaking with Megyn Kelly about what he did. And you tell me if you think it meets my definition, even if it doesn't technically meet it.
In Europe and in the United Kingdom where I'm from, the age of consent is 16. And
don't care. I don't care. The age of consent is 16 in Europe. It's a different... I don't care. Whatever you're about to say, if it ends up with you, if you're over the age of 25, a fully grown man, and you're sleeping with that legal person, pedophile.
I did sleep with a 16-year-old when I was 30. But when I was
30? Dead. 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 That's me. That's me right there. That's my solution to that problem.
30, I was a very different person. I was a lot younger, and I was an immature 30-year-old. Consensual sex, actually, with a variety of people, when there is a strong power difference.
Consensual? 16? 30?
Differential, as there is when you're a famous man that has the ability to attract women.
It's not because you're famous, because you're 30, you dickhead.
That I had at that time, I think involves exploitation. I think it is exploitative. I recognize that my sexual conduct in the past was selfish, and I did not apply enough consideration, barely any, I suppose, really, to how that sex was affecting other people.
So when I was a fully grown 30-year-old, because I was immature, I'm allowed to be a pedophile. Because it's legal. Did you just threaten to kill Russell? Yes, I kind of did. Not really. I'm not threatening to murder Russell Brand. But do I think that he should be thrown in a wood chipper, as the saying goes? Yeah. Especially because he doesn't think he did anything wrong other than make a temporary lapse in judgment based on immaturity. I am not personally threatening to kill Russell Brand before you guys try to clip that. No, I am not personally threatening to murder Russell Brand. Symbolically, though, do I think he should when I do this? Do I think he should? Nah. I don't give a shit what the legal age is. Right? The legal age, I don't, it's irrelevant to me. However, we can clear this whole thing up with the 2003 Bill Clinton sex tourism bill, right? Where if you're an American citizen and you go to another country, the age of consent's 18. Yeah, that's how that works. If you're an American citizen, which Russell Brand is, and I believe he was. I don't know if he wasn't. It depends on legally where this happens. But for Andrew Tate, let's say, for Andrew Tate, his excuse is the same excuse, right? He's like, oh, the legal age over there. No. See, here's how it works, right? With the 2003 sex tourism bill, if you're an American and you go to another country, every single person in that country hits the age for Americans on the 18 threshold. That's how it works federally. So you're a federal felon pedophile if you are sleeping with a girl who's 16 or 17 and you're over the age of 25. So, I hope that clears that up. That's where I land on that. All right. We're going to move on to the theme of the day. Okay. Now, here's the deal, right? You got sheepdog response, the training that we did, and I sent myself this little video here. This is where you could be. This is just a video of dynamic self-defense training. It's an extreme version, okay? This is like you'd have to train all the time. You'd have to spend thousands of dollars in ammo and just courses, and you'd have to really practice like crazy. But this is where this is the potential you have when you become an expert at dynamic self-defense training. That's what, and if you don't know what dynamic means, it means situational, where it's like you're in, this isn't like draw and shoot. This is like John Wick. All right, does that make sense? So look at this guy. I just found this guy this morning. Okay, so these are situations where you're training for a situation, right? He's training to shoot 3 different people. This is a situation where he's drawing and shooting at close range. This is a situation where he's pushing off. Look at 3 targets, bang, 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 bang. This guy is solid. And this is like I said, an extreme dynamic shooting. Yeah. It's about drawing very quickly, backing up. It's about situational awareness. It's about shooting from a car. It's about shooting around objects. It's about shooting in low light situations. It's about how you're drawing your weapon, etc., etc., etc. Right? There's all sorts of different ways you could train. You could train every day. It's like jujitsu, okay, or it's like martial arts, right? You can train for years. For years. My Gatsby, my dog is right next to me. He never comes in here, usually because I have the door closed, but he snuck in. So anyway, sorry. ADD, shiny object. Gatsby's not shiny, but you know what I mean. Anyway, this is extreme, right? This is the course that we just did, right? There's me right here in the white hat. And you notice we're holding our weapons up. Let me go and shut down the YouTube stream so we don't get a ban.